Alright, hello and welcome to the A Link to the Past No Major Glitches Tournament 2021 here on Zelda Speedruns 2. This is a Group G matchup between Fricker22 and thisisnotyoho. Our commentators are Ace0 and Greenham. Say hello and take it from here.
Hello everyone. How we doing out there? How you doing, Ace?
I'm doing great. How about you, Greenham?
Pretty well. I am excited for this race. I've been looking forward to this match all week. We have some top tier runners here going head to head for you today. Should be a really good show, and I believe we'll be getting underway here shortly. So just sit back and relax.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a close match. We've got the 7 and the 10th seed overall in the tournament here, so really closely seeded. PB's close, both very consistent. It'd be a tight one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have to say I'm very flattered by these file names. These two guys are good friends of mine, and I greatly appreciate the shout out. So you love to see it.
Yeah, this is just such a fantastic community. Like the Link to the Past community, it has really, I'm not a major runner. I haven't been doing it in a long time, but I still have so many people that pop into my stream that, cheer me on, that give me pointers here and there, direct me to resources. That it's just so many people that care and want to see everybody else get better and have fun with the game, and you love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things I really love about running this game. And yes, as Shady asked in the chat, both of these runners right now are 2-0 in their groups. So they are playing for their final placements right now, who's going to get the 1 spot and the 2 spot, which will end up determining where they get placed into the brackets. So basically these guys are playing for an extra bye in the tournament stage, which could be pretty handy to have. So yeah, like we have been saying, these two runners are some of the top tier gamers that we have on the leaderboards today. Both of them have 124 PBs separated by just 6 seconds. Fricker is in 18th place with Yoho in 22nd. Both these guys have been playing for quite a while now. Fricker, I know, started playing in about late 2017, early 2018. Has been around the community for quite a while. You will probably know him as the voice of the FMG tutorials. Super helpful member of the community, does tons of PB reviews. You'll probably see him around Twitch all the time. If you're playing Zelda, Fricker's probably going to be in your stream, and he's always willing to help, and just a really good overall dude. Yoho started out as a rando player, actually, and ended up getting into NMG because a fellow member of the community, Doomtab, basically bullied him into it. He basically made it a sub goal once Yoho actually hit that affiliate to start running the game, and he started around late August in 2019. So both of these runners are, like we said, just really at the top of their game. So I'm really expecting a great match here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice to see people come from different backgrounds, even just for this tournament. There's some runners that have kind of been away for a while that, came back to, de-rust a little bit and join the tournament. Some players that are randomizer players, just like Yoho was, as you mentioned, that are fairly new to NMG, that don't have a lot of NMG runs under their belt, that have kind of free PBs waiting for them in the tournament here, and some other runners that have just stuck to the vanilla game and been doing that for years. So it's nice to see different skill sets from runners around the same levels at different points in the tournament here, and these guys obviously both at the top, but it should be a really good match. Nothing really too interesting to talk about so far, though, in the escape.
Yeah, Fricker took a little bump there from that guard, but recovered really nicely, and both had some pretty nice 8/ fights there on the ball and chain guard. But yeah, like you're saying, I love that this game especially seems to bring so many other gamers together. Regardless of what your maybe main games are to play, this game is just so popular and so timeless. I think that a lot of different gamers end up playing it, which to me contributes greatly to the overall development and advancement of the game. And that's something we try to really welcome in this community is, you know, we're always going to respect your perspectives and your approach. And I think everybody has valuable input that they can bring to the table here. Hi, Olivia. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Now tell all your friends. Boyne asking the real questions in chat. How many pot spin speeds will we see today? I'm going to set the line at 0.5. No, that makes it too easy. Let's set it at 1.
Yeah, we're talking about that's the Tower of Hera tile room strat. Is that where?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very somewhat uncommon strat that is been attempted to be very vigorously popularized by one of the runners in this match, and I'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer as to which one that is. And yeah, just make sure you are paying attention in once we get to Tower of Hera in that tile room.
Does that actually save any time, Greenham, or is it just neutral to picking up the pot and throwing it as the more standard option goes?
It doesn't lose any time, I think is the way that Yoho likes to describe it. And it does add several cool points to you, so yeah. You got nothing else to do in that room, really, so why not have some fun, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty uneventful escapes here so far. Everything going pretty normally as far as I can tell. Looks like Yoho is trailing just a little bit behind Fricker at this point, but really the difference here is going to be so negligible in the long run that it's really not going to matter too much.
Yeah, and unfortunately on our commentary stream, we don't have a timer going for Fricker. It looks like he might be more used to SRL for the races and didn't manually start his timer at the beginning, so we're not going to be able to see his splits. But it's like just a couple seconds ahead coming out of escape.
Oh baby. We have our first major divergence here in that Fricker is skipping the Sanctuary Heart that Yoho just opted to grab there. One of the best safety items in the game. Can save your butt on numerous occasions, but it does save somewhere around 3 to 4 seconds to actually skip that, so looks like Fricker is just trying to nab any sort of advantage that he can, but we'll definitely be paying close attention to how that is going to affect him throughout this run.
Yeah, probably the most important place for that is going to be Palace of Darkness. If anything goes wrong on Helmasaur, he's only going to be able to take 2 hits rather than 3 if it goes in with full 7 hearts like Yoho most likely will.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, you know, Helma is definitely the first major point that we're going to be watching to see how that affects it. A lot of the boss fights is really where it's going to come into play. Yeah, Shady. That's an excellent point as well. Some of these overworlds can be brutal, and anytime you are trekking up Death Mountain, that can definitely be a spot for it as well. Fricker does grab that safety heart there. That one is actually really fast to pick up. So if you're low at all and you see Yoho grabbing it here as well, just to fill back up, because we are going to be doing an intentional damage boost later on in this dungeon. Gravy Town, eh? I want to go to there.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that expression, but it definitely sounds good.
Imagine, Doom. Somebody should definitely request that next stream. Resident artist, MS Paint artist, Doom tab. Alright, so one thing we're going to be keeping an eye on here throughout Eastern is how many rupees they manage to pick up throughout the dungeon from drops from enemies. We see that they both already have one single rupee. We are going to need to get to 110 before we enter the Dark World, and some of that will come from these drops that they're picking up, and some will come from some trees later on magically that we will see. We'll talk about that a little bit more once we actually get there, but just keep an eye on that and how many drops they end up getting through this dungeon.
Yeah, it turns out in the land of Hyrule, money does grow on trees, so must be a nice place to live, apart from all the evil sorcery and Dark World shenanigans.
Fricker utilizing the menu buffer to the bow and arrow there in the room, whereas Yoho opted to do it outside the room. Some players like that, some don't for timing. Some feels like it throws them completely off in the room. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy about watching these matchups side by side like this. You get to really experience the difference in strats and approaches, and what works for one person may not work for another, but as long as you get there in the end, it doesn't really matter. What is most consistent for you is always the best strat. So no more rupee drops for Fricker. Oh, are we getting the Yuzu Armos? Hell yeah. Check out this Armos strat by Fricker here. Looks like no, that was so clean, dude. Very nicely done. Whereas you see Yoho here is going for the more standard top right approach.
No, that was really complicated. I couldn't even figure out what he was doing. Like, how do you keep track of your arrows on that setup? It was amazing, though.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Fricker, I know he likes to throw in a lot of swag strats like that. He can pretty much do all of the strats that you're going to encounter in the run, and he just kind of picks and chooses what he likes to do. And I know that he's kind of gone back and forth on that particular strat, whether or not to actually include it in runs. But here for the restream and for the race, he's doing it for the fans, and we appreciate that about him.
Fortunately, the rupees you mentioned, Greenham, neither of the runners got any additional rupees at the end of Eastern, in spite of those popos that have a pretty good chance of dropping them at the end.
Yeah, so we may end up seeing either one of them pick some additional ones up in Desert Palace, which is the segment that we're on now. You saw there that Yoho struggled a little bit on that first spin speed of the game, but got it on the next retry. You see Fricker here going for another one on this library screen that saves a little bit less time. Ooh, it's definitely not saving time now that he had to retry it a few times, and that is one of the risk-reward things that you're going to see a lot of throughout this game. You see Yoho here is not actually going for that, going for the more consistent, safe approach of just dashing on that screen, and probably actually ended up gaining some time on Fricker there as a result.
Yeah, this is one of the tougher overworlds, I feel like. It's fairly long compared to some of them, and there's a lot of precision to some of your dashes that nothing's going to, of course, kill either of these runners, but they can lose time just not quite dashing in exactly the optimal spots.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that Blue brings up in chat. As I kind of mentioned before, doing things in a consistent manner is going to take you a long way in this game. We do that same spin speed later on in the game when we encounter it in the Dark World portion of the game. You're still in Light World, but the enemies are actually a little bit different there. So the movement is a little different from between the two, but it's still pretty similar. So you can definitely make an argument for saying, well, I'm just practicing it one more time for later on. So I can buy that argument. Let's see what kind of cannonball RNG Fricker gets today, whether he has to stop and redash like he just did there. It's going to lose a little bit of time. We'll see if Yoho fares a little bit better. You can get to... Ooh, nice red drop, though. Now, that is some good RNG that we like to see. And that was a pretty smart decision to stop there for that. And it looks like he did get the good cannonball RNG, so just gets to dash straight through. So, yeah, it was really fortunate that that red rupee dropped. Fricker might opt to pick up this blue rupee here, and he does, which is going to help him in his rupee routing later on, but Yoho is not going to have to worry about that since he did get that drop.
Yeah, both these runners did get at least one arrow drop at the back of Eastern Palace as well, so they're looking pretty good with arrow count. Obviously, they're not going to be in risk of running out during the Thin Molus fight, but the more you can have leaving, the better. So it's nice that these guys have such healthy amounts.
Another small difference here, and I was actually kind of surprised to see that Fricker did not go for that Desert 2 spin speed. Even though he went for the first library one, which saves a little bit less time, but maybe he's just feeling a little less confident in his spin speeds at this point. Yoho did go for it, but unfortunately missed it and just had to do the dash anyway. So I love the fact that this Yuzu BMOS hallway strat is catching on, dashing below that BMOS instead. Makes the RNG of those popos at the top of the room much more consistent. You never have to really worry about them. So, but now we go into another RNG fest boss here. Let's see how they handle the worms of dread here. Pretty decent opener from Fricker. Didn't get a ton of damage on that third worm, which is one that you kind of want to focus down since it is the last one to spawn, but pretty nice second cycle there. Same sort of thing from Yoho there. Oh, Fricker very nicely. Looks like he cleaned it up in 3 cycles. Let's see if Yoho can do the same. It's going to be kind of tough, but... Oh man, that worm stayed in the air forever. It tried to give it to him, but looks like it's going to end up being a 4 cycle, and not too bad. Yo, the up press after dashing off that ledge there from Fricker, FSG would be very proud. That up press there after you jump off that ledge and land can potentially save you something like 2 frames. Yoho here is going to opt for a much safer exit strategy though. Loses something like 15 or so frames to what Fricker did there.
Good read by Yoho to dodge both of those pickles, actually, that were right in his way. That's a tough screen. No matter what you do, you have to deal with that RNG.
Okay. We're through the one of the soft lock risks of this game from doing the fake flipper strat there. And something you may have noticed is the runner's actually kicking up some dust there once they were coming off of those stairs. It's a very, very minor optimization. Usually when you come off of stairs like that, Link kind of staggers a little bit. He just walks a little bit slower when he comes off the stairs. But by either doing a one frame cardinal input as you come off those stairs, or by tapping dash like that, you actually end up avoiding those lag frames and can be a little bit faster.
See Fricker getting into a little bit of trouble with these boulders. Again, more RNG, because this game, everything's RNG. Oh
no.
my, he's really getting chased around.
Wow, and he did not get hit there. I mean, I think that's probably worth it in that case, especially being down Sandcart, to kind of do some extra movement to make sure you don't get hit there. But sometimes you can get into the state where you're like running away from a boulder and it just chases you back down the mountain. So kind of unfortunate there, but the important thing is that he still has 4 hearts as of now, and will enter with 4 hearts as well. I didn't want to speak too early there because that dead rock outside of Hera can be a bully sometimes.
Yeah, looks like Yoho going in with 5 hearts, you know, just that Sandcart advantage, but has much better RNG. Definitely save some time here on Death Mountain.
Ooh, Fricker has to pay the toll in order to go down to the tile room here, the lobby mini Moldorm there. Fricker is going to be utilizing the boomerang here, though, to do a nice boom dash onto those pegs so he gets iframes and can just chill out for a little bit. Whereas now pay very close attention to what Yoho is going to attempt here. This is a strategy that he loves dearly, and it is getting spin speed and grabbing that pot. And once you embed yourself into those stairs there, you can actually get the super speed state. Looks really funny, but he's a huge proponent of it and tries to convince every runner out there to do it. It's definitely a fun thing that I would recommend everyone try at least once. Ooh. And Fricker taking a little bit of a bump there from one of the beetles. Has to leave that arrow drop behind. I kind of wish he would have gone to the other side of that beetle and grabbed those, but he is sitting on 11, so it's not like he's in a dire situation or anything, but you really love to get those additional drops so that you can avoid picking up any unnecessary pots later on.
Yeah, and sitting on 2 hearts, Fricker's being a little cautious here in the petting zoo of those Moldorms, but doesn't get hit for it, so that's always good.
Yeah, both runners here using the spin setup for the bond jump can be really consistent. Oh, baby, nice chest turn, Yoho. Get your Lynx W's in chat.
That's the first one we've seen, I believe, but I am sure it won't be the last.
It better not be. I'm going to be disappointed. All right, Fricker on 2 hearts here in the Moldorm fight, so we're going to watch very quietly. Okay, how did that spin connect?
I have no idea. I was thinking the same thing. I wanted to see finish the fight first before I said anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Moldorm's hitbox, and nicely cleaned up there by Yoho as well. Moldorm's hitbox can be just a complete mystery to most runners. Some hits that look like they should really connect don't, and then some that have absolutely no business connecting do. So luckily, both runners here got some pretty favorable patterns and also played it really well. That fight can be, I mean, that's one fight where I think you can really tell the experience level of some runners and how they deal with Moldorm's movement and kind of predict where the worm is going to end up. So definitely some good fights there from both.
Yeah, absolutely. Yoho's was especially fast. Looks like he saved a little bit of time in Hera overall. Fricker's still with a small lead, a lot of RNG in this split because, of course, this game has tons of RNG.
Yeah, for sure. Some of it is subtle and some of it's very obvious. One thing you may have seen there is that Fricker had to end up picking up all four. Ooh, getting trolled a little bit by that pickle there, but Yoho does take it out. Fricker did have to pick up all four blues there from the tree in order to get to the proper rupee count, whereas Yoho, I believe, only needed to grab 2 of those, so saving a little bit of time there. And then they are both killing at least 4 enemies here, so they can get the red drops from the tree a little bit later on here.
Yeah, killing 4 enemies and making sure not to get hit. That's why Yoho had to be very careful with that pickle and hit that second arrow shot. Getting hit resets the trees back to the blue rupees, which are not enough. There is, of course, the backup. If you do get hit, you can pull that one again, and then the backup would be outside of Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that if you are going to do this tree rupees strat, you very much need to know all of your backups. Oh no, Fricker went for the dash strat on that crow, but he does have beam, so he'll just be able to beam this bush crab here for his 4th kill. The reason he was actually dashing through that bird is dash killing an enemy prevents it from advancing its prize pack, so you can force the drop to later on when you actually want it. I believe he already did see the arrows, so I think he was trying to avoid getting a potential bomb drop there. But looks like they both have their requisite funds to access the Palace of Darkness after they get into the Dark World here. Alright, so now we are getting into the Aga Tower proper, and I feel like this is kind of an underrated segment in terms of its difficulty. Lots of rooms here that require some pretty precise enemy kills and movement, and you can just bleed a lot of time here without actually realizing it. Oh, Yoho struggling a little bit with this second Gold Knight kill here, but again, you see the runners doing those dash kills there on those guards. That's going to potentially set up a fairy drop later on in the game in Turtle Rock. So good that they both got that and made sure that they didn't get those drops here in Aga Tower where they really wouldn't benefit. Uh-oh.
Ooh, that's not great.
Yeah, Yoho sends out an invite to the whole party here. And alerts everything, unfortunately, in the Dark Maze by bonking it, but he's still going to make it out of here with full hearts? Hello? Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's good drops from those blue guards to give him the hearts he needs. Ooh, nice read from Fricker in that room with the where the bow guard has the key to block that arrow with the shield and dash up.
Yeah, very nice. And also a very nice red spear guards there from Fricker using the 4 arrow strat there, which you can do when you have beams, which Yoho is going to demonstrate here as well. Very nice execution by both of them. And this is why you love just watching top tier runners of this game. Side by side, you get to see these strats pulled off really well.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with what you said earlier, Greenham, that this is an underrated, difficult split. Like, this looks nothing like my Aga Tower.
Same.
Also, my split looks similar, but just not quite as optimized. This looks totally different than what I can do.
Alright, so now we come up onto one of the biggest sources of RNG in this game that we can't actually do anything about, so we're going to hope, beyond hope, that both runners get at least very similar RNG. The last thing we want to see is, a race that just gets kind of put out of hand by this boss. It doesn't happen very often. It's statistically quite unlikely that it does, but occasionally it can happen. It's happened to all of us. Some of us have even gotten 15. Not very many of us, but some of us. Looks like Fricker here getting pretty favorable RNG so far. I haven't seen a blue ball on his side. This looks like it's clean through the first phase here, whereas Yoho, I believe, just got his first. I think Yoho got out of there with 2 in the first phase. Fricker just got his first, I believe. There's number 2. Alright, he's going to get out of there with 2 blue balls. Yoho can equalize here if he doesn't see any more in this phase.
Should just have one more hit left.
Nice, that's what you love to see.
Perfect.
That's the good stuff. Yeah, now it's time for just a nice, comfy Dark World.
Yeah, both runners getting through their light worlds, sub 30 minutes, which is a nice benchmark. Means you didn't have any major mistakes or any disastrous RNG with the blue balls.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a good time that you like to see. The number 29 there. Now getting into the Dark World here, where the game really starts to ramp up in difficulty, and especially the boss at the end of this dungeon. It's mostly difficult because this is the very first Dark World dungeon that we are going into. And as a result, we are, still pretty low on resources, in terms of the number of heart containers that we have. And this is where we mentioned earlier that we're gonna have to pay very close attention to Fricker's health, since he has an even number of hearts and will most likely be able to take 1 less hit on Helmasaur King than Yoho can.
It's like we see the same bomb route from both the runners. Potentially, not everybody grabs that first one on the way to the fireball shooter room. These guys both picked that one up. Maybe just for safety in the race, so they have one extra for later for IPBJ. But
yeah, could very well be. Your bomb route here is kind of flexible in terms of what you can pick up. I also wanted to call out that Yoho did get a very nice arrow drop from the jelly there, so that's always nice to see. Will help out a little bit later. But yeah, as you mentioned, there are a few optional bombs here that you can choose to pick up or not. Another one of them is going to be coming up on the second bomb jump of the game here that Fricker is going to be entering very soon. You can opt to pick up either one or both bombs there. And then there's also an optional one in Thieves Town a little bit later. Doom, please. Even forgetting that they go back to the start of the dungeon several times and pass through the same rooms. Yeah, Fricker coming up on that bomb jump here. It's not technically pixel perfect. It is Y coordinate perfect though. There's a little bit of flexibility in terms of your X position. Fricker making it through there very nicely with only one extra pause buffer to check his position there. Let's see how Yoho fares. Opting not to pick up that other bomb. Very nice 1 frame diagonal adjustment there by Yoho. Was that no? Okay, I thought he got 2 in a row. No, dude.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, looked like he just moved down 1 frame too many there. You hate to see it, but He does have the hole blown open already, so doesn't have to toss another bomb over or anything. Yeah.
Did he just not hold up on that one? That one looked like it was the right spot on the rail.
I think his initial placement must have been bad. Or, yeah, also very possible, something we've seen from a couple of runners already in this tournament is accidentally moving diagonal out of the menu. Okay, chat's saying he looks like he was just a pixel low.
Placing the bomb. Okay. It looked like the setup was correct for the second part.
Yeah. So really some unfortunate happenings there. One of the worst things about that, apart from just his health being so low at this point, was the fact that he is down a lot of bombs now at this point. So is going to have to hope for a drop a little bit later on, or find some other source further on. But the health situation here is not great for Yoho. He's not going to be able to get up to full. He can take 2 hits from Helmosaur at this point, and he's not going to have beams to do some of the strats that you probably saw Fricker do on his side, since he did have those beams. So it's going to slow him down quite a bit, but certainly nothing that he can't make up at some point later on.
Yeah, there's extra bombs a few places. He can get a couple extras that are not too far to the way in Thieves Town, extras in Ice Palace as well from the Stalfos Knights if he really needs one for Ice Palace bomb jump. But nice fight from Fricker. That was lightning fast Helmosaur kill with no damage taken.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very clean. Didn't look like he got any fireballs from Helmosaur that I could see, so it definitely helps out in terms of doing the fight efficiently. Whenever you get those fireballs and have to kind of dodge around, that's when things can get pretty dicey. We're going to hope for the same thing on Yoho's side here. He deserves a little love and tenderness after all the things that went wrong for him.
Yeah, including that turtle room that just RNG, the bottom right turtle just went the wrong direction, decided not to get flipped over.
Yep, going for the spin speed helmet here, puts you into the spin dash state to where it will actually change the hitbox of the hammer, which is great news because normally the hammer or hitbox when you're facing up is absolute garbage. So getting us into that state kind of essentially fixes that and rights that wrong, and makes this fight a little bit easier. That was actually a really great Helmosaur fight, and based on the fact that Yoho is actually using sub-splits here, we can see that was a gold Helma fight for him. Ooh, nice. That was pretty close. Fricker missing the item dash there the first time, but read that really quickly and moved down just a little bit so he could attempt it again and managed to get out of there without taking any damage.
Yeah, this overworld isn't particularly dangerous. Taking damage isn't the worst thing in this split. This is one of the splits, if you're going to take damage somewhere, you probably want it to be here. Because Thieves Town is a relatively safe dungeon for the Dark World. But you still don't want to. It's still a time loss. Nicely done to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly. Serious, it could go either way, honestly. Like, he normally doesn't do it anymore in runs. He definitely did it for a while in his runs, but I know recently he's taken it out. But when you're on the restream, and just sometimes something in your mind and your thought process takes over, and you said, you know what, just screw it. I'm gonna do this because it's fun to go for, and if I hit it, I look really cool. Yeah, it's looking like a no. Serious, you know better. Come on. We don't do that here. Yes, flute domes only, please. Alright, so sort of a light world, dark world high five there going on as Fricker enters the dungeon as Yoho is retrieving the duck from the light world version of that screen. Thieves Town, pretty straightforward dungeon for the most part. There is one particular screen that can give runners headaches, and we're going to see shortly how Fricker deals with the Hellway here. Nice slope dash there from Yoho. Gaining a few frames on that screen, potentially. Alright, Fricker's Hellway here. Didn't get the greatest RNG. Oh man, that really sucks getting nipped by the fire snake on the way out there too, but honestly, it can always go so much worse than that. So getting out of there with only 2 hearts of damage taken, not too bad.
Yeah, especially with how many things moved directly in his way. You saw he offset his first dash up. He was a little bit to the left to try to get by that Patrick Star, and still got blocked again.
Wow, did Yoho beat the spark on that screen? That is really tough to do. Your movement has to be really clean to dash from where he did and not get knocked out of it by that spark. So despite those mistakes in pod, it seems like Yoho is still very much mentally in this game and is just really focusing up and trying to bring this back. So let's see how the Hellway goes for him. Does hit the pixel, does not get the RNG. Doesn't take any damage though, so very nicely played overall.
And I feel like we almost have to say it, the obvious scripted
Do we?
fight coming up.
Do we? No, you're absolutely right though. Please go ahead.
And so nothing really should go wrong in this fight. Every once in a while, a runner will have a mistake happen, a mistimed hit, but 99+% of the time it's going to be exactly the same. No RNG, surprisingly, with all the other RNG in this game. You know where to move and when to swing and poke your sword. It's going to go exactly the same every time, and of course, Fricker does it flawlessly. If you're willing to bet money, we'd see the same on Yoho's side in just a minute.
Yeah, one small thing to note here is that if Yoho does... Ooh, nice bomb drop. That is so clutch right there. That is going to definitely save him some headaches down the road there, so that's really nice to see. But that came as a result of him having beams, and he was able to kill that jelly and get that drop. But also, as I was going to say, he's going to have beams for this fight, which I know some runners don't like, but it can actually make the very last hit of the fight a little bit faster. So the way you can judge that is by how far to the left of the light there Blind ends up dying. So let's see how Yoho does here with that. Very nice. Nicely done.
Alright, I see Fricker about to get his tempered sword and run some errands here, get some money, get a sword before the next dungeon. This is kind of a little... So this isn't considered part of the shopping for some reason, but I feel like it should be. In fact, this is the shopping where you actually spend money to buy things.
Yeah, this is definitely more accurate for shopping, but you are just getting money for free by just breaking and entering into all these places. And I guess, I mean, sort of, I guess it's sort of like Robin Hood, you know, you're stealing, I guess, from the thieves from the village of outcasts who have taken this money from, you know, the Light World village residents or something, and you're just giving it back and distributing it to those who need it most.
Mostly just King Zora, I guess.
Yeah, mostly him.
That's where it almost all goes.
He's
really
the
need
kingpin.
He's actually a king, so you're like anti-Robin Hood if you're giving it to the king from the citizens.
Damn it. Why must you poke holes in this? Yeah, you're right. Alright, most important part of the run coming up. Nice. Fricker gets the fence dash. Run is officially valid. Let's go. Fricker coming up on one of the worst rooms in the game, in my opinion. Let's see how these mummies treat him. Rudely, so far. Oh no,
Ooh,
that is not where you want one of those to be. Oh. Oh my god. Almost got wall mastered there, but quick reactions there. And then takes a hit from that Stalfos, who didn't even look like he was actually in the way. Very rude.
Yeah, that's a tough start. You're going to be taking some intentional damage. We'll see if he takes the fall down the hole as well after this bomb jump. It's the fastest way out, and it also gives you iframes to get through the rope on the overworld, but he might opt to do something else to save the health if he's concerned in a race setting here.
I think he's going to take the fall, I would imagine, but that's definitely something you want to keep your eye on for sure. That's a really good point. Sometimes you'll see runners just take a little too much damage through there, and one of the and I wouldn't say funny, but one of the more terrible aspects of that is if you do just decide to bonk over that hole, and then don't remember that you don't have iframes to walk through that ropa, you're gonna have a bad time in the overworld.
Yep, can confirm from my own experience. I've done that.
It looked like Yoho had a
nice statue
pretty
room. Yeah,
nice mummy statue room, yeah, for sure.
Fricker smartly delays, waits out that fire snake. Sometimes that's a tough read. You're moving up fast, and you want to get the lucky movements and be able to get past that block and keep your dash, but smartly waits.
The back of Skullwoods. Yeah, the back of Skullwoods here is really some of the toughest rooms in the game, in my opinion. They're all smushed together right after one another. But Fricker does make it through there nicely on the same 3.5 hearts that he entered with. Let's see how his Moth fight goes. Moth does 2 hearts of damage with I think all of its attacks. The spikes do 1. Okay, everything's fine. Moth is just not cooperating, just hugging the top there. I'm not sure how that hit counted, but I am damn glad it did.
Yeah, must have just hit the block before hitting the spike. So hitting Moth under the block must have made the damage actually stick.
Yeah,
But
it
I
could
was going to
be.
mention, with Mothula up on the top there, Fricker had already used his menu to mirror earlier, which was a kind of interesting spot, but I really liked it to line up the mummy that Yoho's about to get to hit him into the spike easier. But if needed, he could have been able to use that fire rod on Mothula, but didn't have it equipped.
Ooh. Yeah, and I think we're seeing a reason why Fricker does like that menu there. Where you have to stop that dash on the way up in order to actually hit the mummy into the spike is fairly precise. So if you're off by even the slightest amount, as Yoho was there, oh, I thought that was going to be the 10 out of 10, dude. He got robbed. But still a very nice moth fight. 8 out of 10 from Yoho there.
Yeah, so Yoho definitely saved a little bit of time in Skull Woods. Couple rooms going just a little bit cleaner, but Fricker still has a nice lead for the race. Luckily, no major disasters in there, out of a few scary moments.
And this overworld that Fricker is on right now, to go to Ice Palace is definitely one of the tougher ones in the game. Contains one of the longest screens in the game in Zora's domain, clocking in at right around a minute. So it can definitely be some time lost in this overworld if things go poorly. One of those things is the potential lottery here from these Ropas, but he's just going to play it safe, taking the Louis dash there through the top bushes, not even worrying about that Ropa RNG. So definitely a very smart play there in a race setting for sure. No quick fish from Fricker there, so Kozler is weeping somewhere, I'm sure. It's very, very, I mean, it sounds like it's a big window to throw it in, but it's still a very precise thing, and if you miss, you're just literally throwing away all the potential time save that you had with doing the trick in the first place. So I'm curious to see if Yoho goes for it. I don't think he will, but he does opt for this risky lottery dash there. Luckily, does not get hit out of that.
Yeah, if he were to get hit, there are a couple opportunities to get hearts back before entering Ice Palace. The bush right here that he just walked past on the hill is a 50-50, and then the rock in the light world when they mirror, and then also the crabs can potentially drop hearts. So it's not the worst thing if you get hit and you're able to, take advantage of those hearts, but still takes time to pick them up and isn't guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice that the opportunity is there at least. It looks like Yoho did go for the quick fish. Went for a slightly different setup than I'm used to seeing, but did get one of those one of those early throws into the circle that still counted. So nicely done by him there, gaining a few frames hopefully. Fricker makes it into the tiniest warp in the world. Is going to be rolling into Ice Palace here.
Was that hesitation just to wait for the Zora to make sure he didn't get hit by the fireball there?
You talking about before he went into the warp? I didn't quite see.
Yeah, it was a little
exactly
odd
what
movement.
he
He
did
walked
there.
back to the right and slashed the crab, but he should have had time to make it into the deep water to not get by the crab.
Yeah, I think, and I'm pretty sure he used a menu buffer there, so he may have seen something he didn't like, or just wasn't feeling confident in his movement and how he was going to have to handle the RNG, and just kind of played a little bit safe there. But Yoho utilizing the same menu buffer there and just going straight into the warp as you were mentioning.
Yeah, that's smart. That's a menu buffer that I need to pick up, because I do not take advantage of that myself, and I ought to.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure. Ooh.
You
hate to see
but
it.
a minor time loss.
Yeah, I mean, you like to see mistakes made out of ambition, and just trying to be as optimal and quick as possible and bonking on the door. Because if you're not trying to push those limits, you're never really going to get even close to optimal. And just you want to take advantage of every little frame you can find everywhere. So I respect it. Happens to the best of us. Oh my goodness!
Wow. I can't believe I made it
taking
through
taking a little damage there. Was at risk of not actually being able to make it into the hole before the pegs closed up on him, but luckily he did. Nice, setting up iframes there and hugging those spikes puts them on a good pixel to dash through. Now doing the bomb jump that we didn't even talk about on Fricker's side, but is a very important trick for this dungeon and its routing, and both of them nail it very nicely.
Yeah, it looked like, did Fricker not use the dash turn setup? Is that correct? The one that Yoho used?
I didn't see, but from what I know about Fricker, I'm pretty sure he does the dash turn. I think maybe what happened is he didn't land on a good pixel at first, as we are seeing most likely a double poke cold stare fight here. Please tell me he got this. Okay, he did get the spin. I thought for a second he may have poked one of those puffs before he released that spin, but a very clean double poke fight from there. But yeah, going back to the bomb jump, I think he just didn't land on the farthest pixel and during his dash turn, and then decided to just slash his sword and scooch on back to it. I don't expect a single poke fight here from Yoho, but it can be one of those things that depending on where you end up spinning the puffs, you can actually read it and say, okay, well, I spun him a little too close, so I'm going to go for a double, which actually Yoho does end up doing there. Nice double poke from him as well. Very clean cold stare fights. You'll love to see it. Yeah, as Steven said in the chat a little bit earlier, they're basically just a cutscene apart. A little less than that for this particular one. This one is about 50 seconds, but the gap is still pretty much about the same.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what these guys do for their shopping trips. Looks like Fricker is going up Death Mountain now to grab his ether. I'm not sure if Yoho's going to do the same, so we might see a divergence there. Make it a little bit harder to see exactly how close the race is. But we'll find out if Yoho gets his ether medallion and his ice rod potentially later in the Mire split.
Yeah, I want to say that they both do the same thing, where we're going to see ether grabbed here in the Swamp Overworld, and then ice rod a little bit later on in the Turtle Rock Overworld. Come on. Getting some rude boulders there that knocked him out of his original attempt at the spin dash, and then had to retry it a few times there. He's back on the horse now. Whiff the warp though, unfortunately. Easy to do when you're going fast, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you can opt to use the menu buffer to get the warp to the Dark World, but looks like he opts to use it to get to the Light World, try to grab that quick warp a little bit easier, which definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, dude, you might notice that he got into the water there and probably held down the dash button for like 28 frames or something. And just, ooh, baby, nice anti-fairy skip there from Fricker. That requires some pretty clean movement, and he got it. You'd love to see it. So one thing that I know Fricker does a little bit differently, and you may be thinking that his arrow count is pretty low at this point, and it is, but I know that he actually prefers going for the 10 arrow chest in Ganon's Tower, which can be a little bit faster if you skip these other slower pickups here in Swamp, so I would expect to see him doing that here.
Yeah,
if I
that makes
can.
sense. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think if I can math properly, I think there's about a 45-second difference between them right now.
Yeah, good point brought up by Sirius that only having 8 arrows for Misery Mire is a bit tight if you need to use any to help you clean up the small eyeballs in the Vitreous fight. You're not going to have enough for the big eyeball. Obviously, you can use slashes or additional spins if needed, and I don't know if... I'm sure Fricker is comfortable with that, even if that's not his go-to backup during the fight.
Yeah, I think he would be okay with that if it came down to it. I think we're going to see him at least pick up those arrows in the hook dash room a little bit later on after he actually does get the hook shot, unless he gets bad RNG, in which case he may actually end up skipping it. But either way, I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he of course doesn't need the bomb in the refill room at the back of the dungeon, so that one would make less sense to pick up.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely the big one that you want to skip. It loses at least a second to go for those drops. I will say, though, if you are going to pick up one of those drops, you should probably just pick them both up, because it doesn't really lose that much more since you're already over on that side of the room and grabbing pots anyway.
Yeah, I like seeing all the minor differences throughout this dungeon. We see, even in the overworld, Fricker did the hammer dash out of the warp to the dark world, and Yoho chose just to walk and hammer the pegs, which is a very negligible time difference. And even in the dungeon, Fricker doing the hammer dash as well towards the left side to get the big key. A lot of just small differences in the way Yoho is pathing this out.
You cursed it, Sirius. Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say we were going to have to DQ both these runners because they both still have beams in Swamp, but then the sociable firebar room happened, and we did see Fricker grab those 5 arrows under the pot in the hook dash room, so he's going to be comfy for Mire. Yeah, skipping those drops in the refill room as I expected. I would imagine Yoho will end up picking those up. You want to be leaving, if you're not doing what Fricker does, you want to be leaving Swamp here with at least 21, and that means you can't use any extras on Vidi, as you mentioned earlier. But let's check out this Argus fight. Going for a 0 cycle here, very precise order that you have to kill those puffs in. Fricker does it very nicely, going for the Fire Rod quick kill here on the second face. Very clean. Nicely done, sir.
Yeah, that's really nice. We do see Yoho grabbing the bomb and the arrows. For him, the bomb's also valuable, sitting at just 1. In a race setting especially, he probably wants to have a bomb in case something goes wrong with Spooky, and then an additional one for the Ice Rod. Not have to rely on a 50-50 or anything else. See Yoho's attempt.
No. Yeah, it looks like he just dropped the state there, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to resort to just hooking and slashing at this point. Josh, please. We almost got through it without mentioning it. But yeah, Yoho here does clean up the fight, is going for the Fire Rod quick kill as well, and does get it.
Very nice. No 3 cycle phase 2s that we've all experienced at least once.
Yeah, that's the big reason that I don't opt to go for that. The downside of missing it is just so massive versus the 1 second potential time save that you're getting out of it. So unless you're super consistent at it and just willing to eat the loss, like once in every, how many ever runs, it's just it's kind of a weak proposition in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one of those things that has been talked about in other races. I've heard other commentators mention that sometimes when you're learning the game and you're getting your time down, you try to do everything you can to save time, and then you start to realize that you're losing time, you're losing runs on certain things that are inconsistent, and that's one in particular that I will probably drop myself, because you're right, I go for it all the time and just it doesn't always work, and consistency is key for sure.
Yeah, it's such an interesting progression that you mentioned there, and how runners kind of go back and forth. But I mean, that's all part of the gig, right? I mean, you have to go through that, and you have to evaluate what is best for you, and what you should do for yourself, and what's going to be most consistent, as opposed to just trying to copy what all the top runners do. Did want to mention real quick that Fricker had a 2-cycle Mire 2 there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to kill that last Wizrobe at the top there before it disappeared, and had to come back another time. So lost a little bit there. We'll see if Yoho can get a clean Mire 2 and potentially gain a little bit of time on Fricker here.
It looks like Yoho, he lost his input for the dash, or maybe pressed the dash button before turning up. Didn't get that through.
Yeah, I think
If
my
he
biggest
caught
question
it right
there
away,
was,
he could have saved it with a slash and get the sword beam for a backup.
yeah. But how in the world did the Beamos hit him from there? Like, how does it have line of sight there? That's so ridiculous that he still got hit by the Beamos at the bottom of the room there. But nonetheless, he's through the room now. No, Oase, neither of them have Ice Rod at this point, so they do the same routing there. Oh, I think Fricker was trying to pause buffer there to reset the frame roll cycle and potentially just dash through that spark. Since the game only checks for damage every 4 frames, if you can make it through that spark in those 4 frames and have favorable frame roll on your side, you can actually just pass through it entirely without taking any damage, which is a pretty cool strat, and doesn't really lose anything necessarily to go for, since you have to use that menu buffer somewhere anyway. Wait, did Yoho get slugged or something?
I didn't see it either. I was watching Fricker's side, but it looks like it, based on his heart count, he's down quite a bit here, and he's going to have to take the 3 hearts of damage on the spike floor as well.
Yeah, that's going to leave him in a pretty precarious position here. He will be able to get, hopefully, at least 1 heart from the Wizard pots down there. But very smartly, they're opting to not go for that spark gamble and conserving his health here.
Fricker going into the victorious fight with 8 hearts, so should have no trouble here. Fight that always looks terrifying until you understand how it works and get good at it, then it ends up being actually really consistent.
Okay, that was very smart by Yoho there. You saw that he walked up and just killed that Wizard, which can potentially give him a heart drop, which he did get, and then he waited to pick up that pot, which always contains a heart, unless there are too many sprites. Oh, I thought he got it! Oh man, if you are quick enough to react to that, you can actually just dash through that door there. It would have been a really sick heads-up play, just to even like recognize that and go for it instead of just throwing up your hands at me like, what the hell do I even do? Just shows that he definitely has a lot of game knowledge and game sense there. So, but back to the heart situation, he did get that drop there, and also hook-shotted the hearts to potentially get another friendly frame roll to where you can actually get 2 hearts out of just the one by hook-shotting it on the right frame. But yeah, sitting on 6 hearts here, you technically only need anything above 4. Oh, that might throw things off a little bit, slashing that eyeball there.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of Yoho's mistakes have been kind of the same thing. Like he's hitting an input before turning, like his Meyer 2 mistake. Looks like the same thing as what just happened here.
Okay. Oh, the lightning dodger. All right, everything is fine. Everyone calm down. Nobody panic. Oh my goodness. So yeah, he makes it out of there alive, but not without giving the entirety of chat heart attacks. So, but yeah, like you were saying, there are a lot of potential causes for what is going on Yoho's side here. I know that race nerves can definitely contribute to that a lot. I do the same sort of thing where you're kind of like you're hyper focusing and not really playing as relaxed as you're used to. So you tend to kind of rush inputs a little bit sometimes and do certain things before others. So definitely something that can happen to any of us out there. Fricker taking a little bit of damage here on the Turtle Rock overworld, unfortunately, on Death Mountain.
Yeah, he could mitigate that by opting to do a little bit of a safer strat on the roller room in Turtle Rock. He might mirror out instead of taking the intentional damage from the roller.
Yeah, we'll see what he does here.
He does have the fairy set up. Both runners do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to mention. Very good call there. What we set up earlier in Aga Tower by dash killing those guards that are in the same prize pack as the Pokies here in this dungeon, we're preserving that drop for this dungeon. So hopefully we see a heart and a fairy coming out of those Pokies for Fricker here. Yo, nice quake speed, dude. That saves like, I want to say something like 5 or 7 frames, something like that. You definitely don't see a lot of runners go for it because the movement is so precise and it's very easy to lose time with it. Nice arrow drop. Wow. What the hell is this luck? But yeah, that was very nice movement there from Fricker. Ooh, okay. Yoho didn't squirrel block himself, thank goodness.
Yeah, I didn't see. So how did that? How did Fricker use his menu there to get to the cane? Did he use that as part of the setup for the quake speed?
Yeah, exactly. So as he was coming off the stairs, I believe, those tiny little stairs, which actually give you the super speed state, I'm pretty sure that's where he ended up using that menu. And I remember when I did my splice of this game, my theory splice, I definitely had to use that menu there because it was pretty damn impossible otherwise. All right, let's see if Fricker, he does get his fairy drop there. Very nice. Perfect. Back up to full.
Not perfect super chain jump RNG.
Yeah, super rude RNG there. You love it when you go into this room with beams because you can do the fastest strat there, but not when you get blocked like that. And unfortunately, I think that means Kane is going to be unfollowing Fricker since he did not opt to do the Brahmin block blast.
So Fricker not picking up the arrows, which checks out based on what you said earlier, Greenham, about his tendency to pick up the chest before Ice Armos. Otherwise, he probably would have picked up the 5 here in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded him picking up here on sitting on 10 arrows because if he goes up to 15 here, grabs the 5 under the pot that you get naturally, that puts him up to 20, and then grabs the chest, that puts him up to 30. which means he'll obviously have plenty of arrows for Ice Armos, and then would be able to skip the chest after Ice Armos, where you grab the big key. So really could go either way here, though. It's not really the biggest deal in the world, just kind of a minor difference.
There's always the opportunity to get a 10 arrow drop from the Pokies too, but didn't quite get that. I think that's the next one in the prize pack.
I'm not sure what order that goes in. It's in there for sure. You see it every once in a while, but unfortunately it's usually just kind of too far out of your way to actually grab it. But definitely an option if it falls right into your path. But we did see Yoho got all of his drops, both of the fairy and the full magic, so everyone is sitting pretty at this point. Nice. Yoho getting the bottom left RNG and getting the key dash. That is one of the hardest things to do, honestly, in this game. It's a very tough setup, and your movement has to be pretty precise in order to pull that off. Fricker going for the fast laser skip there. Unfortunately gets the slow RNG from that beetle there, so has to just wait it out and slash anyway. But definitely a very nice read there. Oof. Not super great double Poke RNG here for Yoho. And, oh, he's going to collect that heart as well to get back up to beams, which, you know, I don't hate. It could be very nice for this Crystal Roller Room coming up, as Fricker is fighting Trinex here.
Ooh, okay. Thought he was going to miss that slash and have to menu back to Ice Rod and refreeze the head.
Yeah, that was...
He clutched it out.
It was definitely close.
Of course, no risk of dying with his health or anything, but, you know,
yeah, for sure.
A couple extra menus and maybe get some ice on the floor if it's too slow. Could be a time loss.
Yep, absolutely. Alright, so I noted Fricker's crystal catch time. I'm going to try to do the same for Yoho once he gets there, and we'll see what the time difference is approximately between these guys. Yoho opting for the slightly safer approach there on the laser skip, putting that Samario block down to bump the beetle out of the way. Doesn't really lose that much time to the other strat, but definitely more consistent.
Ooh,
no.
Errant shots. That's getting kind of scary.
This game is so picky about inputs sometimes. If you accidentally hit a diagonal while you're doing that and trying to face the other way, he might run out of magic here. If he doesn't get the slash.
Yeah.
Okay. We just barely clutched it out. Holy moly, that was close. But yeah, you can get that right ice rod shot. Unfortunately, if you face down and you are accidentally holding a diagonal input there, which can be a result of numerous things. SNES controllers are notoriously finicky, and especially with how much we tend to beat them up playing this game. It's no wonder that we get so many ghost inputs like that. But luckily, Yoho does not have to do the fight again and does take down Trinex. And I totally forgot to clock the crystal catch time because of that.
Same, I did too.
All right, Kane saying it's just under 2 minutes here, so that's definitely a pretty healthy gap that Yoho is going to need to make up. It's basically, I mean, it's pretty much Fricker's race to lose at this point, so There are definitely a number of things that can still go wrong. It's by no means over by any stretch of the imagination if you've watched enough of these races. So we'll definitely be keeping our eye outs for what's going to happen here. But definitely keep your eye on Fricker for this this strat he's about to do to pick up the chest right before Ice Almost with the arrows in. It's a very, very cool looking strat, very precise. That was close. And just as I talked it up, and like I said, it's very precise, and if it goes wrong, you can accidentally get knocked down into the hole before you really want to fall down, and you would end up being short on arrows. So wasn't the cleanest execution, but most importantly, he did get the chest, and he's getting the red Armos here. Unfortunately, it's a good thing he got all those arrows, because he needed them. But that may throw things off a little bit later. That was a pretty fast cleanup, so we'll have to see how that affects the Ganon bats a little bit later on. But definitely an opportunity for Yoho to make up a little bit of time there. Yeah, I agree with chat in their assessment in that I don't think that was... You have to be pretty slow in that fight and exiting that super tile for the arc variable to continue ticking over there, and I think he cleaned it up quickly enough to still get the good bats.
Yeah, and even with even with bad bat setup, if that is the case, if he gets there with enough health to take a hit, it shouldn't really affect much in the fight. Still be able to get the 1-in-1 and take a hit, worst case scenario, and keep trucking on.
Yeah, for sure. I hesitate to bring this up, but one of the biggest curses for Fricker's runs recently has been the torch glitch. So I would be more worried about him hitting that than him being at some sort of risk of dying. So I'm actually really curious to see if he will opt to use the lamp for the torch glitch as opposed to the fire rod. So overall, looked like a pretty clean gauntlet for Fricker.
I really like that sword slash buffer to get the fireball shooter to aim in a specific spot for that Landmolus 2 kill. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, that's a really nice setup, and that's one of the rooms I think you see some of the most variance between runners and their setups for how they choose to do it. Some people do like a certain number of slashes, some people walk in a very particular pattern. So it's one of those things that kind of shows off that there are so many ways to do a single room, and whatever works for you is the best one. Okay, Fricker playing it very safe there, not wanting to get the jingle glitch there, which would offset the sprites by a super tile. It doesn't actually despawn them, it just moves them to where they are completely inaccessible, and you cannot progress through the rest of the dungeon. So playing it smartly there, definitely potentially a little bit of PTSD going on there. Oh, that is something I have not seen happen in a very long time, but is one of the risks of that strat, in that you can just get kind of caught in there with that anti-fairy, but still relatively healthy here. Oh, that fire rod shot connected on that third worm? Holy moly, I thought that was just gone, but luckily it connected, and Yoho pulls out the one cycle Landmo 2 fight there.
Now, does that bonk at the beginning of the Agatu fight? Does that save time, or is that just express disdain for the fight?
Yeah, I think that's just Fricker trying to communicate with us as to what's going on in his mind right now. I'm sure he's a little bit frustrated with all this damage that he's taken, especially. But does get through the Agatu fight. 4.5 hearts here going into the fight, so he can take exactly 1 fire bat in the first phase. But hopefully he just doesn't take any damage at all, because he has done this fight thousands and thousands of times, I can guarantee you. The amount of time that Fricker has put into this game, and especially grinding for to do all the room videos for the tutorial that we put together, I know he has spent just so much time in this fight. So let's hope he has another clean one here. Alright, looking good so far. Starting the ring dashes for the second phase. Let's hope these bats are okay. We want to see a spawn in the bottom right. Yep, they look good, so he is very used to dodging these. No issues there whatsoever.
Very nice. Hopefully not too many more warps, and as I say that, we're all done with the Ganon warps on his side.
Oh, going for this extra spin here. Is going to use the fire rod. Gets the torch glitch. What a badass. Let's go. Yeah, definitely showing some confidence there with going for that second spin. I mean, to be fair, Ganon was pretty close to the torch. And I'm so sorry, I completely missed the fact that Yoho just got a 2-cycle Agatu, which is one of the rarest things that you ever see, because not only do you have to get favorable patterns from Aga and the clones, you also have to win a 50-50 of the real one, not blue balling. And with that, Fricker finishes up the Ganon fight. Very, very clean fight from him. Just chilling on 4.5 hearts, no worries whatsoever. Very, very nice run by him. Looks like his final time is a 1:25.22. Great tourney race from Fricker there.
It's a fantastic time. And Yoho's been playing well too, of course. He's been just a little bit behind the whole race. Enters Ganon as Fricker leaves. So we'll have him finish up in just a moment as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Yoho had a pretty dang solid run overall. It was really just the hammer jump stuff that kind of... He got it? He got it! He used 3 fire rod shots. And just spamming his little heart out. But does end up getting the torch glitch. Very nice. Yo, Fricker, welcome in, dude. GG on the win.
Yo, thank you. Appreciate it.
How you feeling, man?
I feel alright. I'm a little disappointed because I feel like I dropped PB and T-Rock and GT, but you know, it's how she rolls sometimes.
Wait, dropping PB pace in some of the hardest dungeons in the game? No one has ever done that before. As Yoho here is finishing up his Ganon fight, does the Ganon dash. Gonna be, I'm pretty sure he's gonna finish with a 1:26 here if his timer can be trusted. Looks like a 1:26.58. So GG to Yoho. Very nice run from him as well. Yo, Fricker, my dude, congrats on hitting torch glitch.
Dude, I was thinking about torch glitch while I was in Eastern. I'm not even joking. And I'm just like, torch glitch, torch glitch, torch glitch. Oh, great. His last spin is on the bottom. That means I'm going to do a double spin before torch glitch, as I usually do. But, yeah, it felt good to kind of break not getting torch glitch. And it felt like a really good run. And I wasn't watching Restream. I wasn't I didn't have any splits or timer running. I was just kind of playing the game. So
Yeah, dude, you played really solidly from everything that we saw. Even busting out the Yuzu Armos in the beginning and pulling that off really clean, and that was a pleasure to watch.
yo, appreciate it. Yeah, it was fun. And GG's to Yoho. Like, I came into this match a little rusty, and I'm like, man, I think he's gonna sweep the floor with me. So I mean, Yoho is such a good runner, and it honestly could have gone either way. I'm not sure what the blue ball ratio was between us, but
Yeah, you both got the same
too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I felt like I was going to get 0 until he baited me, but
yeah,
that's
we are also joined by Yoho here. GG, dude, nice run.
Hey, thanks.
GG.
So how you feeling after the race, Yoho? I know you're probably pretty disappointed about the Palace of Darkness adventures there, but other than that, how you feeling?
I mean, the hammer jump, just screwing that up twice. I don't know what happened there. I don't know whether that was like mental or hardware or a combination of both. And then getting slugged in mire kind of screwed me pretty good too. So I don't know. Other than that, I guess it was all right. But I don't know. I didn't feel like I was playing my best. So it's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. These sort of runs and races can always go either way like that. I mean, sometimes it's just, how you're feeling on the day, because, you obviously know what you're capable of doing, and then just there's so many other circumstances that come into play. So there were definitely a few pretty tense moments, especially the Trinex fight for you, Yoho. I know we were all clenching a little bit during that.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking I was going to run out of magic for sure, and then I just got it, so I got pretty lucky there.
Yeah, dude. And then that torch glitch was hilarious. The 3-shot torch glitch. I think that's a first for me ever seeing that.
I mean, what I practiced when you get the top double is that you're supposed to be able to fire immediately after you get the top double, and it'll light the torch. And then it didn't, so I was like, okay, I'll shoot again. And then it didn't, so I was like, well, we're just gonna keep going with it, man.
Yeah, it's like once you get into that middle area of the arena, it's just such a gray area, such a crapshoot as to whether you're gonna get that torch glitch or not. But luckily you did, and you finished it out pretty nicely. So, but that does put with that victory, Fricker moves to 3-0, I believe, which means he's going to be the top one out of that group. I think that nets him an extra bye for the tournament. So, Fricker, how are you feeling about your chances going forward and then the brackets coming up?
Well, to be honest with you, in this category, in this tournament, there is so many good runners. Even in like the third slot, like anybody can win, anything can happen, and having so many buys, I'm just gonna have to make sure that I stay de-rusted. But going forward, I feel pretty good, but like I said, there's so many good runners in this game, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yoho, I think that just means you have one less buy, but you still have a little bit of time off. So are you going to, just be kicking up, relaxing, and playing some casual games, or are you just gonna keep playing and grinding this every once in a while?
I'm not sure. I mean, this is going to sit with me, and it's not going to sit well with me, so I might end up, really kicking into it. So I don't know. Pretty disappointed about my performance here. So.
Yep, and I don't think anyone in this tournament really has been playing completely up to their standards. I think everyone has had a pretty off run every once in a while. So these runs are just going to happen. You just gotta shake it off and move on. And I have complete confidence in both of you that you can do so. And just good luck on the rest of your tournament adventure.
Yo, thank you. GG again to Yoho, and thank you for the restream, and thank you for both commentators. I appreciate you taking your time and entertaining us all.
Yeah, same. GG's to Fricker. Thank you guys for commentating. Good times. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Ace, I really enjoyed commentating with you, dude. It was a lot of fun, and definitely had a good time.
Yeah, same. Thanks, Greenham, and thanks to both you guys, Fricker, Yoho, for such a good run.
Awesome. With that, we are going to toss it back over to our excellent restreamer. Shout outs to ZSR as always for putting these on. We really appreciate you hosting our community in this excellent tournament.
I want to give a shout out to our runners, Fricker and This Is Not Yoho, and thank you to our commentators, Greenham and Ace Zero. Looking at the schedule, get that up. Oops, I closed the tab. Right now over on the main ZSR channel, we have the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Standard NA North American Weekly Race. Right now on ZeldaSpeedRuns _3, we have Twilight Princess Any Percent Tournament. Tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, we have the Zelda 2 Randomizer Weekly Race. And then, of course, tonight in North America, we set our clocks forward an hour. But not in Europe yet. So tomorrow's schedule, not a ton tomorrow. I believe we have 3 No Major Glitches matches tomorrow. Dow TMB versus Matt7898 at 1 p.m. Eastern. Coxler versus Scopel at 3 p.m. Eastern, and then there's another one at 6 p.m. Eastern that hasn't been added onto the schedule yet. Alright, so that's going to be it for us here. We are going to go raid Zelda Speedruns. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.